Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, does Johnny Manziel deserve another chance in the NFL? Plus reaction to Michael Bennett taking a shot at Russell Wilson. And should the Lakers be concerned they drafted a bust in Lonzo Ball? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's start with Johnny Manziel. He is back. Kind of. Manziel threw 38 passes yesterday at the University of San Diego Pro Day. 13 NFL teams were there to watch, even though Johnny last played in a game over 2 years ago. Yesterday, he addressed his past and a possible comeback. Let's take a listen.
I know I've rubbed people the wrong way. I know there's people that, still doubt what I'm doing and still doubt where I'm at, because for me, I've had spurts in the past of being good. I've had spurts in the past of showing promise and like I'm on the right path, and then right when I think I get there, something else happens. And it's like kind of the pattern that it's been in the past couple years of my life, especially since college. So for me, the key right now is just be consistent and continue to do what I'm doing day in and day out. And hopefully after, a year of solid, behavior, of solid workout regimen over the last year, now transferring into the 3 months of this year, I feel like if I can parlay in that into enough months and enough time, people will be able to buy into that and be able to trust what I'm doing again, and that I'm not just trying to, pull a fast one to try and get back in the NFL. I feel like I've genuinely got a right team around me and the right people around me and a wife that cares about me and loves me enough to save me from myself, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's the only person that I really need saving from.
Shannon, do you think Manziel will get another shot in the NFL?
Prior to this, Skip, I thought there was probably a 2-3% chance. After this, 13 teams showed up. I think there's somewhere around a 15% chance. I think what he did was great on his part. He went to the University of San Diego and he threw to some receivers. Now, the receivers requested that he be their quarterback.
Yep.
But they're slated to be later round draft picks.
Yep.
So now Johnny comes in, it's not like he's upstaging anyone. Whereas had he gone somewhere else, maybe it's like, oh, Johnny's trying to take over the day. Now, my recommendation for Cap is to find one of these historically black institutions that's having a pro day and go through to their receivers and see how many teams were to show up. Skip, for me, this is not about Johnny Manziel on the football field. Johnny Manziel is the exact same height he was at the Combine and what he was his first year at Cleveland. This is not about his ability to throw the football, because I don't know the gurus. Maybe he has a George Whitfield or Tom House or one of these mechanics in throwing the football in his camp. This is not about on the field. This is about off the field.
Yep.
Can Johnny Manziel drive by a bar at 10 o'clock at night with the neon sign that says open? Can he drive by it, Skip, and not park his car and go inside and stay till 1, 2 in the morning? That's what they're going to need to know. So someone's going to have to trust him. And like he said, I've had spells where I've been really, really good for a short amount of time. And that's the thing what you have to understand, Johnny, so you can see why people are a little cynical, a little skeptical, because you've shown this before and somehow you relapse back. It's just amazing to me, Skip, that 13 teams, and now it's hard for me to believe that 13 teams are going to show up to watch guys that are slated to go 6th, 7th round, maybe even free agents. It's hard for me to believe that they just showed up for those 2 young men or those couple of guys, those receivers.
No.
It's hard for me to believe that, Skip. And Johnny gets afforded privileges that we know one quarterback that sat out of the NFL last year did not get afforded, and that's one Colin Kaepernick. And so for me, if I'm Cap, I'm going to find somebody that has a pro day, that has some receivers that's slated to go in the later rounds, because I don't want to be accused of upstaging someone's workout, and I go through to them. And so while they're there looking at those guys, they can see how I spin the football and that I'm more than capable of playing in the NFL.
So, here we go again. Speaking of George Whitfield, he is Johnny's personal quarterback coach and guru, and he's tried to stick with Johnny through thick and mostly thin. Johnny got really thin about 2 years ago. He looked scary thin.
Yeah.
So I communicated with my friend George Whitfield last night. I've been very close to this story, probably too close from the start. And George said he was a little surprised that so many teams are now showing interest in Johnny Manziel, that he's upped his percentage to slightly better than 50% that Johnny will get signed and at least taken to camp by an NFL team. Just taken to camp, and then who knows what would happen after that.
That's way more than my 10 to 15%, Skip.
And I would have been probably lower than yours 24 hours ago.
Right.
So after I communicated with George last night, I started thinking, wonder if he's going to pull this thing off. Because I used to love Johnny football.
You did.
And then late last night, I slapped myself in the face and said, you're doing it again. You are falling back into the Johnny football trap because it's easy to fall back into. Right. Because I keep harking back to that day in Tuscaloosa when Johnny did a number on Nick Saban's defense. Remember that?
Yes.
As a redshirt freshman at Texas A&M on the way to winning the Heisman Trophy. And at the end of that year in the bowl game, in the Cotton Bowl, he just annihilated and humiliated my Oklahoma Sooners, coached by the two Stoops brothers, and one was coaching defense, and they just could. Johnny ran for 229 yards in that game, ran for it, and threw for 300-something. Well, that was magic.
Yeah.
It was magical what he kept doing. He hung 42 points on St. Nick's defense at Texas A&M in the opener the next year, and threw for 450-some yards. Mm-hmm. And that's the guy that those 13 scouts went to look at, because they're still thinking, God, that guy, if he could ever get that back.
Is some of that still in there?
Is it in there? So just for the record, before I get deeper into this, Johnny's got 2 auditions coming up in what's called the Spring League. And it'll be on April 7th and April 14th back in his old stomping grounds in the state of Texas. This is in Austin, Texas, at a high school stadium in Round Rock, which is just outside of Austin. And it's a bunch of players who have been on NFL rosters that have been dumped by the league, and they're trying to get back into the league. So it's a showcase for what do they have left? What does Johnny have left? So he will have 2 chances for the South squad to quarterback and show that he can still handle an offense, run an offense. Can he still move the way he did at Texas A&M? Can he throw with the accuracy and velocity he appeared to in his pro day ahead of the draft, in which Mel Kiper had him going mid-first round, and he finally went 22nd overall to the Cleveland Browns. John Gruden, my friend at ESPN, was campaigning that Johnny should go first overall, and I was buying into Johnny going to Houston because Houston had the first pick, and Houston was stuck with Matt Schaub and Case Keenum at that point, and T.J. Yates, and it just looked like silver platter because College Station, where he played college football, is about 45 minutes up the road from Houston. Well, here, Houston, you got your guy. You got the biggest gate attraction in maybe in football, college or pro football, Johnny Football, who is becoming an it kid off the field for all of his Twitter, Instagram, and unfortunately for all of his partying. And I'm still amazed that Johnny, he's become more of a celebrity just for being a celebrity, right? He's become Johnny Kardashian. Yeah. He's become more famous to me for clubbing and partying than he has for playing football,
Especially NFL football.
NFL, it's just a disaster.
But Skip, it's almost like he's turned himself into a sympathetic figure. It's almost like,
Man, I don't, but go ahead.
But poor Johnny, Skip. I mean, you know, he made a mistake. He's a young kid. Give him an opportunity. And I have no problem. The guy says he's rehabilitated, but how many times have I heard you say this, that you're changed? How many times have we heard athletes, just not athletes, or anyone say they've changed, yet we haven't seen the changed behavior? You're changed now because you're seeking employment. But when you gain this employment, Skip, will you still continue to be as proud and as happy? Well, I'm married, I got a dog, I don't have time to go out and party, all I'm training 6 hours a day. Will that still be the case? Now, obviously, you're not going to be training 6 hours a day because you'll be on the clock, you'll be preparing, but you know, you'll be in the classroom, you'll be practicing and things of that nature. But it's just hard for me to believe, Skip, that teams will bend over backwards. They were willing to give guys that's done so much. They'll bend over backwards to give those guys an opportunity. But there's this other guy, and every time we can't.
Well, but we know what happened to the other guy. He got blackballed or whiteballed, as you say. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick. So that's an orange to the rotten apple that has been Johnny Manziel. And Colin Kaepernick was some orange because he came within a controversial throw of winning a Super Bowl, and he still didn't have a job.
Skip, he beat Aaron Rodgers twice.
Yep.
He set an NFL record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback at 181.
You get that.
And he, think about it, he's at 2 inches away from being a Super Bowl champ, because if he throws that ball 2 inches higher, instead of getting 2 inches lower, instead of the ball sailing out of bounds, it hits Crabtree in the back of the end zone. Or he's a throw away from getting back.
It's pass interference, but go ahead.
But that's just the thing, though, Skip. And that's what's so disappointing, and that's what people see. Why is it that Colin Kaepernick can't even get a call? Well, you have to change the offense. We just saw Josh Johnson, Skip. Now, he got signed by the Raiders. Josh Johnson was originally drafted by John Gruden his last year in Tampa. That was, I think, 2008. But Josh Johnson hadn't played meaningful football in almost 7 years. And he gets a call. And poor Cap, well, he can't play. Skip, he can't play. You know he can't play.
So, back to the it kid, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Kardashian. So, ahead of this draft, at least I give myself this much credit, even though I was falling for Johnny's Eddie Haskell phony baloney, and he can turn on the adult charm like nobody I've ever known. And he would text me and say, I do not have a problem with alcohol. But I was saying on the air, if he does have a problem with alcohol, I am out. And then later it was reported that he not only had problems with alcohol at Texas A&M, he was starting to dabble in cocaine. And that led to worse and worse. So, Johnny Manziel gets drafted and just goes completely down the tubes. And it got so bad that he just couldn't play. He couldn't even show up for meetings. He's missing meetings to fly to Las Vegas and put on disguises. And now he's telling these stories as if we should have sympathy. And I got to tell you, I'm out. I'm done.
You're not buying it?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm out of sympathy.
Okay.
Because I get this. Now he's saying, I was diagnosed with bipolar. Okay? So remember, he got a domestic violence charge dismissed because he went through anger management, he participated in a domestic violence panel that he had to sit on, and he went through an NFL-sanctioned substance abuse program. And he completed all 3 tasks, and the judge dismissed the charge. And he did serve a 4-game suspension to start the 2016 season, but he wasn't even with the team, so I don't even know how that plays. So I'm not even quite sure if he's cleared by the commissioner yet to be on an NFL team.
But I thought that for you to serve a suspension, you had to be on the team, because if you're not on the team,
I'm not sure how that plays, how that works.
How do you suspend someone from school that doesn't go to school?
I don't know.
And so that's what we're up against. But here's the thing, Skip. You mentioned John Gruden. Now, John Gruden said, if I'm the Houston Texans, I take Johnny Manziel #1 and I don't look back. John Gruden is the coach of the Raiders. Why isn't Johnny Manziel on this roster? Now, he had an opportunity.
Maybe he will be. I don't know.
He said, I would take him #1 overall. You got an opportunity. You don't have to take him #1 overall. You don't have to pay him that kind of money. But it's amazing how he did it, Skip, because he found a school, he found some receivers, and I don't know how. These guys said, we want Johnny to throw us the ball.
Everybody loves Johnny. They want to hang with Johnny. Who does Odell hang with in the offseason?
Yeah.
He wants to be with Johnny.
And it's ingenious the way he did it, because the simple fact, Skip, he's not upstaging anyone. These guys got extra eyeballs on them, because you and I both know the majority of these scouts showed up to look at Johnny Manziel.
They did.
Because you could have easily sent some scouts to look at these wide receivers, Skip. That's what they normally do, especially lower level. Now, when I was coming out, Buddy Ryan actually came and worked me out. There were a coach from the Falcons that came and worked me out. So I knew the Eagles were serious. And Buddy Ryan told me, he said, look, Shannon, we're going to take some receivers. I probably, 5 of our top picks will be wide receivers. He said, if you're on the board, we're going to take you.
Yep.
Well, I was on the board. They took Fred Barnett. They took Calvin Williams. They took Mike Bellamy. I'm still there. And he said, I probably should have took you. I'd still had a job in Philly. But Skip, you and I both know this. They didn't show up to look at those 6th and 7th round picks at wide receivers. They showed up to look at Johnny. And I don't fault Johnny. I don't fault him for trying to get back into the league, trying to gain employment. I fault the hypocrisy in which the NFL and its coaches and owners and general managers show, and how, it's about winning. No, it ain't. It's about your image. And if you think someone has done something to that image, you'll bypass their ability. and says, okay, it's about the image, when you and I both know it's not, because we know there are guys currently on rosters that's done. Look, we don't even want to talk about what they're doing, but we know what Colin Kaepernick did is not a crime.
Well, obviously
Yeah.
not. And yet with Johnny, the first thing I want to know, are you clean and sober? So that's the first issue that you have to address. And I know for a fact he's gone through a rehab counseling session even lately, because I hark back to that 2016 springtime right here in Los Angeles and those pictures. He looked like
gaunt.
he looked like he had hit
Yeah.
deep bottom. And for him to bring himself back up to this point, as you point out, he recently, it's only a few days ago, he got married. And he says now he's a homebody and he just hangs out at home with his wife and his dogs. I hope that's correct. I hope he's seen the light that football is more important to him just to play football than what it will do for him in the nightlife.
Right.
Because that's why he originally played football only to become famous in the club. That's what that's what football meant to Johnny
Right.
Manziel. And then the club did him in.
Yeah.
Because all of that behavior, and remember, I go back with Johnny all the way to his true freshman year. In the spring, he got arrested for a drunken bar fight that carried on outside. He got arrested by the campus cops. And that's the first time, that was the biggest red flag of all. And then in college, after his second year before the draft, he winds up in Austin, Texas, at the University of Texas, at a frat party, taunting his rival school while thoroughly inebriated.
What about those 4,000 pictures, those autographs that he did for free?
You could say that's a lack of character. You could, however.
No. I don't have a problem with it. But you and I both know no one is signing 4,000 items for free.
Yeah.
Not when you won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
So we know that.
How he only got suspended for the first half
First
of
half.
the Rice game.
A.J. Green sold his jersey 4 games. Todd Gurley sold his jersey, did autographs 4 games.
Yep.
So we just.
Johnny Manziel still has mystique. He
Yeah.
still has star power. He's still a gate attraction. And even a year ago, remember, Sean Payton reportedly was meeting with Johnny because he was intrigued. So, again, the best thing that's going to happen to Johnny is somebody's going to bring him to camp and just give him a chance as the third quarterback in camp to make the roster.
Well,
I think he's played out his eligibility for practice squad because he's been 2 years in the league. So I think he can't be on.
But I think it's Skip, it's games also. So I don't know if he's met the requirement for games. But okay, well, it better be Tennessee. It better be someone that has a start. It better be Seattle, because or else you're gonna have to change the offense. And you know, teams don't like having 2 offenses on the book, on the table. Skip. Now that's what we've been told.
That's what we've been told. That's a very good point. Johnny is as quick in the pocket as anybody I've seen, and that includes Michael Vick, just on quickness in the pocket area. He's not as fast as Michael was down the field. He ran 4.5, but Johnny is a runner. And I saw, we had Nick Saban on the other show at ESPN, and I talked to him off camera about Johnny. This is going into the draft. And he said he can play in the NFL. A lot of people told me he can really play in the NFL, but Nick wondered whether Johnny could stay healthy. Well, he didn't even play enough games in Cleveland to even find out whether he could stay healthy.
Right.
Because he's stoutly built, but he is a shade under 6 feet, and he goes like 205-ish, somewhere in there. He's kind of Michael Vick's size.
The question is that I had, Skip, could he stay on script? Because most of his plays was off script. You don't diagram plays for what Johnny could do. And it happened like Russell last year, Skip. All the plays that they were making offensively was Russell Wilson off script. He's pirouetting, he's running side to side and throwing the ball down the field.
Yep.
The question is, at some point in time, no matter how great you are with your feet and no matter how great you are making plays outside of the pocket, you're going to have to make plays in that phone booth. The question is, can he harness that and make plays from that phone booth area?
See, I'm not sure he can see out of the phone booth. But Russell figures it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell can throw it from the pocket.
Yeah.
But he has to create lanes. Sight lines.
Right.
That he needs that obviously the 6'4" quarterback doesn't need.
And the thing is, Russell has a nice motion that's over the top. And
It
it's
is.
funny, Brock Osweiler has more batted down balls at the line of scrimmage than Russell Wilson. Brock Osweiler's 6'8.5".
Well, so Johnny still he has more to prove off the field to me than on the field.
Yes, absolutely.
But you watch what's about to happen. On April 7th, the stands will be packed with contingents of NFL teams, April 7th and 14th in Austin, Texas, to see what he looks like operating an offense. Because there's still something about Johnny Manziel that these people think could work in the NFL. And again, do I, at the bottom of my heart, do I root for him? Yeah, I do. But, man, I don't want to get fooled again because I don't trust all this new contrition. I've heard it before, I've swallowed it before, and I'm done with it.
Man, you out, huh?
On that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I need to see it.
Yeah,
the addiction problem, all of us kind of, once you hear that, we all have experience with it. You know it's very hard to trust that because they're going to be very compelling about how they've turned their life around. But if he does end up getting signed with the team, it'll be quite the show of privilege. Kaepernick still hasn't even gotten the call. No mercy. Michael Bennett was traded to the Eagles last week, but he's still talking about his old team. Bennett said the Seahawks lost their identity when Marshawn Lynch left after the 2015 season, and then he called out Russell Wilson. Let's take a listen.
You don't want people like a whole bunch of Russell Wilsons, you know what I'm saying? You got to have like one, you got to have 3 or 4 Marshawn Lynches on your team that at any moment, you never know what they're going to do, whether they're going to come to work or they're going to drop kick the coach, Latrell Sprewell. You just never know. You can't have a whole bunch of nice people on the sports team. You need one good guy that does everything right, prays and does all the stuff, and then like, hey, let's go play.
Right.
Yeah. And then you need some thugs. That's just how it goes.
Shannon, does Michael Bennett have a point?
Hell no. Skip, you don't need no 4 Marshawn Lynches on your team. Absolutely not. Skip, now, you and I get the gist of what he's saying.
Yeah.
And this is why we say football is the hardest sport to win a championship because it has the most amount of players on a given roster. So you bring basically 53 guys from 53 different walks of life, religion, socioeconomic backgrounds, all that. And you try to get together for a common good. I'm a firm believer, and I used to say this about the NFL, you didn't need 1,500 Peyton Mannings, but you damn sure don't need 1,500 T.O.s either. So you need a happy balance. But Skip, this is not about. This is about Super Bowl 49, Skip.
Yep.
And given the history that we know that transpired between the offense and the defense, had we not known the history, we might be willing to give Michael Bennett a pass and say, you know what? What he's trying to say is that Russell's a really nice guy. He's going to do everything by the book. And you knew the few players that that's a little different than Russell. But this is another shot, Skip. This is another shot about Super Bowl 49. And he said, Russell, we lost our identity when Marshawn left. No, you believe you lost your identity when they didn't give that football to Marshawn in Super Bowl 49. That's when you lost your identity because up until that point, you were a running defensive football team. And for some reason to you and the rest of those defensive guys, you wanted to become pass happy. Now, a lot of people believe that it was because they didn't want Marshawn to be the Super Bowl MVP. But this is absolutely a shot at Russell Wilson. And I don't think he'll take it as any. Now, I know what he's going to say publicly. But he knows because he's heard it. He's been there and heard the whispers of the defense and what they've said about him.
Yep.
But this is absolutely a shot. And I get it. You don't need all the same type of personalities in a locker room. But you can't have too many of one either. I don't believe you need 4 Marshawns. Absolutely not. There's enough space for guys to be who they are as long as the common goal is we're trying to win a championship. But this is absolutely a shot at Russell Wilson, and he will perceive it, what he says publicly, but he absolutely knows this was a shot at him.
I agree. So, I've been covering this league for a long time, and most of the championship teams I have covered or been around or known about had an edge to them. They had a backbone that was built on hellraisers and borderline lawbreakers or borderline outlaws, whatever you want to say, that edgy kind of player. Even the Legion of Boom, not that they were breaking any laws, but they had a lot of edge to them. And it ran counter to the guy at quarterback.
Correct.
The guy at quarterback was Christian, and he wore it on his sleeve. And I think they resented how the coach loved the quarterback and tried to make the quarterback the MVP of the Super Bowl by keeping the game in his hands.
The star of the team.
Yeah. And I believe there's been, in these circumstances, because I saw it with Tim Tebow, some anti-Christian bias working in the locker room, a dynamic where they don't trust. I don't know how you would feel about it, but it's like goody two-shoes. I don't know if you're real. Is there some hypocrisy there? Are you really what you stand up for?
Right.
And I think they saw that some in Russell Wilson, and that they had that there was some friction going on that I still feel was going on in that. It felt split to me.
Well, for me, Skip, the way I approached it, you go to church, you in the Bible study, okay, that's you. Okay, one guy might be financial, okay, that's you.
Yep.
Leave. If I want to know how you doing with your money or what you're investing in, I'll come ask you. If I want to go find a church or do something like that, I'll come ask you. But don't you bring that to me. Because I had a guy say, hey, Sharpe, you coming to Bible study? I said, yeah, I'm going to be in the strip club. Bring it to me. See, that was the end of that. Had no more conversations about this. See what I'm doing, Joy? See, I didn't ask you. I know what a church is. I know what a Bible is. So I don't need you to try to bring me anything.
Yep.
So I left it like that. But Michael Bennett, look, maybe on the defensive side, you can get away with a little more rough riders.
Yeah.
You know, because you look at the Oakland Raiders, you look at our Ravens defense, you look at their defense.
85 Bears. Look at them.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the thing is with the 85 Bears is that kind of Jim McMahon embodied their personality.
He did.
Well, on this situation,
did
Russell Wilson is the absolute polar opposite
Yep.
of what they do defensively. And like I said, Skip, there's no question in my mind, had they won Super Bowl 49, I do not believe they would have started dismantling this team. But they're getting these strong personalities out of that locker room.
Yep. So the Cowboy teams I covered from Tom Landry through Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer, they would lead the league in making negative off-field news as much as positive on-field news. All those teams, they had their share, more than their share, of hellraisers and lawbreakers. And yet, what team has dominated lately in pro football, last 15 so years? It's been that one up in Foxborough. And that team is not known for its outlaw types, right?
No.
Now, they'll bring them in occasionally. After you have your locker room established, you bring in a Corey Dillon or Randy Moss or Albert Hainsworth or Chad Ochocinco because you know your locker room is tight enough and strong enough you can assimilate them and they will be on their better behavior while they're in New England. And they are, for the most part. Randy got a little unruly there at the end and he shipped him out, right? So who is the quarterback of that team and why is it different for that guy, Tom Brady? Well, the one thing, you can say he's a goody two-shoes, but what do we not hear Tom ever talk about? Religion. Ever.
Nope.
I don't hear a word from him. I don't know. I think he was raised Catholic, but I'm not even sure what his faith is because he will not bring it up. Even in Tom versus Time, I don't remember any references.
I don't either. And the thing is, Skip, and the thing we know about the Patriots, as good as you are, you get in trouble, you got to go.
Yep.
Now, the only person that's been in trouble, and we didn't know to the extent of the trouble that he was Aaron Hernandez.
You know what? He did take a plunge on him.
Right.
Because they were aware that he had issues at Florida.
Well, yeah, we also know that as good as you are, if you get in trouble before you come to the Patriots, you can still go.
You can still go there.
That's true.
But look at Chandler Jones. Now, Chandler Jones is a preeminent defensive lineman in all of football. But he had that one slip-up.
He did.
And Coach Belichick says, you know what? I was thinking about it, but now you got to go. Now, they don't get in trouble when they're there, and if you do, you get shipped out. But like at Joy's point, now you can have some issues in college, and they'll overlook that. Oh, now you
can have some issues in the NFL too.
But we didn't know Aaron was this far along in what he was doing. In the offseason. Hell, some of this might have even transpired while he was actually during the season. So we didn't know to this extent.
Nope.
And there's no way, and granted, Skip, there were red flags, but we didn't know the red flags was like this now. Come on, I mean, there are things, okay, the guy's drinking, he smoked some weed, and okay, he got in a fight. But to say from this to go to where he went to, nobody would have ever
Remember
thought
the
that.
letter that Aaron wrote at Florida to Belichick and to Mr. Kraft?
And then when he got that big contract, he says, I'm a different guy. I got a daughter now, I got a family, blah, blah, blah.
And Robert Kraft said, I bought it. I swallowed it.
He was hitman.
Well, I think we all know that what Michael Bennett is, while it sounds like he's saying you need some dogs on the team and everyone agrees with that, I think we all know this is really about them blaming the Super Bowl loss on Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. And he should know he's going to a team with two very religious quarterbacks.
That's
Nick
true.
Foles wants to be a preacher when he retires, if I remember correctly.
That's true.
And
That's a good point.
Carson Wentz is very open about being religious.
Yep.
He says he's not preachy, but he is very religious. So I don't think it's really about that.
We don't do preaching.
No, it's about that interception that you threw.
Yeah, exactly.
No mercy. There was some good and some bad for Lonzo Ball last night. Let's start with the bad stuff. He got rejected by Anthony Davis and missed 11 of his 12 attempts from three-point range. He also missed a three with under 20 seconds left that would have given the Lakers the lead. As far as the good stuff, he did have 13 rebounds and 9 assists. After the game, Luke Walton defended his point guard. Take a listen.
I want a point guard that's got the courage to step up and take those, even after missing a few. None of those were forced. They were open threes and rhythm. He's very capable of doing it, and he's not a selfish player, but I'm happy that he continued to show the courage that it takes to succeed in this league.
Does that rattle you a little bit when you see a team just completely disrespect your shot like that?
No. I mean, it should play into our favor. It's a wide open shot. I should be making them. Like I said, the shots I'm getting, I like them. Been hitting them my whole life. A little frustrated not going in though.
Shannon, how concerned should the Lakers be about Lonzo?
Luke, do you realize why they're leaving Lonzo wide open? There's a reason. You don't leave. You, Luke Walton, and Skip Bayless, you need to get through your heads. Lonzo Ball isn't a scorer. He isn't a shooter. He's a facilitator. Now, this hot streak that he was on, he's come back down to earth. He's what he's been. He's shooting 30% from the floor. No, 35% from the floor. 30% from three, 46% from the free throw line. The thing is, what would help him, Skip, instead of just launching those threes, because he was 0 for 10 on his last 10 threes, he was 0 for. He missed his first one, made the second one, and then went 0 for. 1 for 12. Now,
throw in fourth quarter, 0 for 5.
I already talked about that because he had been bad the whole while, so I already knew what he go.
You should say what matters the most. 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter when the game's nip-tuck.
I already knew because I hadn't seen him take over any fourth quarters this year. So why would I?
That you just made the wrongest statement you've
No,
made.
we're not.
That's a false statement.
I'm not going back to
That's
Phoenix.
false.
I'm not going back to Phoenix.
Well, no, did you see San Antonio at San Antonio? He made 3 late threes in the last 2 minutes. Luke brought it up in his press conference after the game last night, went on and on. Did you see San Antonio? And Luke made the point that in late game situations, as Luke called it, winning time, he has, quote unquote, I'm quoting Luke after the game, he has consistently elevated his game. Go ahead. So don't misspeak on that.
I once found $4 in my cushion couch.
Okay, well, don't misspeak.
So-
Just get the facts straight, and then I'm with you.
So hold on.
Get your facts straight.
You gonna take one game?
No, I've got 7 or 8 late games where he's taken over late.
First of all, he's the third best player on their team right now. Julius Randle and Kyle Kuzma are way better, but that's neither here nor there. He's not a scorer. He's not a shooter. And he's afraid to drive the ball to the basket because he doesn't want to go to the free throw line. Now, normally, a scorer would he wants to see the ball go in. And so instead of just jacking up threes or shooting the ball when he's missing, he drives the ball, get fouled, goes to the free throw line, sees it goes in one time, I'm good. But he can't. Lonzo Ball has played 45 games this year. He shot 65 free throws, basically a little over 1 per game. And when he goes, he's only making about 0.5 of those. So
48%.
46, but that's neither here nor there.
48 is what I got.
Well, you're wrong. Your eye's bad. But anyway, that's an 8. That's a 6 instead of an 8. But go ahead. But anyway.
Let me have your glasses.
No, you ain't getting these glasses. They're medically approved for me.
I had my Mr. Magoo glasses.
I bet you do. But at some point, hold on. And then you're telling me, well, Lonzo plays great defense. Rajon Rondo had 24 points, 10 assists. True Holiday had 26 and 6. Now, which one did Lonzo Ball guard, Skip? That's what I need to know. Rajon Rondo, had 24 and 10. Was he guarding him or was he guarding Holiday? Because at 6'7", Rajon Rondo's about 6'2". True Holidays might be a little shorter than that. So which one was he guarding? So not only as he, you love to say at plus minus, played 44 minutes. He played all those minutes and gave you 6 points. He only had 6 more points than me. Played 44 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah, very. Very.
Look at those plus minuses. They're
very misleading because James Harden.
Oh, well, your guys who are so much better than Lonzo, they had worse plus minuses than Lonzo. But go ahead.
Oh, look, Julius Randle played 35 minutes. He was 9 of 16. 23 and 10. That's what he's been averaging. 23. Julius Randle's a 20-10 player. We know what Kyle Kuzma is.
Kyle Kuzma was minus 12 last night. Lonzo minus 2. Anyway, go ahead.
22. Like I said, it's kind of like QBR. There's so many factors. I don't really know how they get to it. Because James Harden had 42 and 10, and he was minus 6. I don't know how they get that. LeBron James having triple dubs, he's minus 4 or 5. I don't know how we. But
what was James Harden from 3 last night? I'm just curious. Like 0 for.
Hold on. I know.
Skip
Bayless.
0 for 8.
Skip Bayless. You're going to look at me with a straight face.
It happens.
And you're going to go walk up in the church on Sunday and just compare Lonzo Ball to James Harden.
It happens. I'm about to compare him to Kobe Bryant, but keep going.
I'm done. I don't even want to talk no more.
Okay. Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished. You talk about Kobe Bryant.
Speaking of Kobe Bryant, do you remember how Kobe finished his rookie year?
I do. Airball in Utah.
Airball. Not 1, not 2, not 3. I sound like LeBron. 4. Kobe Bryant in the last 2 minutes of the closeout game against the Utah Jazz in the playoffs of his rookie year shot 4 straight air balls, nothing but air, in the closeout game with a chance with the game on the line. That's how his season ended. He was 6 of 23 from 3 in his the playoff games that they played. I think it was 9 playoff games. 6 of 23. 3-point shot wasn't that valued at that point. But all the talk around the country, all the talk show talk was, Kobe Bryant can't shoot a lick. They got to do something about this. And what happened after that? Help me out. Did he turn out okay?
Kobe turned out great, but when Kobe's shot wasn't falling as he progressed, what could he do, Skip Bayless?
He could take it to the rack.
Yeah.
And that's the one point I 1,000% agree with you on.
The only one, huh?
The one point is the real demons aren't from the three-point line. They're from the free throw line. And the problem is he is so spooked by, I don't want to go stand there and have to shoot those free throws. He tried 2 last night. Actually made the first one, and the second one was close to being an air ball.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's got such free throw demons that on a night where the three-point shot doesn't fall immediately, what do you do then? You start to let's take advantage of this or that. Let's get the ball in the lane. Let's start to get to the free throw line.
Yes.
And maybe if I can make some free throws, it will feel good to me to the point that maybe I can make a 3 here or there, and then I'll start to get back in rhythm.
You're correct.
Boom. Nothing. He will not enter the lane because he's afraid, to me, to go to the free throw line. That's a bad combination right there, because if the threes don't fall, you got big problems. So what have we just seen? The Lonzo roller coaster is rising and falling at historical rates, because he went for 16 games around the All-Star break in which he wasn't just a good three-point shooter, he was the best three-point shooter in all of basketball. 59% over that stretch. And now he has gone for 7 games in which he is the absolute worst three-point shooter in basketball. How do you reconcile the two? Which is it? And as Lonzo keeps saying, I've been making him my whole life. If you know his AAU reputation, if you talk to people like Eddie House who saw him play AAU basketball, he was known as a dead-eye clutch shooter from the three-point line. And I'm going to say it again. He made 41% at UCLA. The line's a little closer. I will give you that.
Closer.
But if you see a 16-game sample size as a rookie in which he leads the league over those 16 games in three-point shooting, you have to step back and say, that's interesting. Maybe there is something here.
No, you don't.
Well, you do. Why not?
Because.
Oh, you think 16 games are an aberration?
Yeah.
I don't think 16. If you told me 1 or 2, I'd give you that.
Well, what am I supposed to do about the 30 games before that 16-game stretch? Is that an aberration?
Well, I've told you, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass because Daddy drew the biggest target on number one son's
He said
back.
Daddy don't bother him.
Well, okay, well, what's he going to say?
I
Daddy
don't know what
bothers
he-
me?
I
Do you
don't-
want him to say
I don't
Daddy
know what he
bothers
gonna
you?
say.
He's not going to say that publicly.
How about this? Don't say anything. Just go out there and make them shots. How about that? You
Okay.
keep telling me, oh, he's 41%. The Lakers are not going to play their home games in Poly Pavilion.
No, they're not.
Okay.
So last night, once again, good news, bad news. What was the good news? He led all players on both teams with 13 rebounds. He's a point guard, and he got 13 rebounds. He had 3 more than Julius. He had 4 more than Anthony Davis. How does that happen, Shannon? Explain that to me.
Because you know how it happened?
Oh.
Because he missed 15 shots. He got 7 of his own missing.
Oh, I don't think he got any.
Yeah,
of his own
that's how I'm
misses.
talking about that right there,
I think
Joy.
you're wrong
No,
about
I
that
think
one.
I'm right.
No. So last night he also had 9 assists. So if he just made a couple of threes, and obviously you won 1 for 12, but if he just made a couple, we're in triple-double territory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So Lonzo Ball leads the Lakers in defensive rebounding. He's tied with Julius Randle. They're virtually tied. But so that's pretty great, wouldn't you say? And for much of the year, he led them in total rebounds.
Yeah,
and
he's
he
a-
leads them, obviously, in assists, and he leads them in steals. And last night, he blocked 2 shots, and he's second on the team in blocks. So he is just stuffing the stat sheet everywhere but what you fixate on, which is three-point shooting to start with, and then points
He ain't
next.
stuffing that stat sheet in them dubs.
Well, I don't know. They've been playing pretty well. And last
they-
night, they were playing really well to the end.
Joey.
And obviously, it came down to he's got to make a three-point shot.
Hey, did
but
he?
you know
Hey,
what
did
Luke
he?
said? What did Luke say after the game? I watched the whole press conference here on LA local TV.
Yeah, what'd he say?
And he said the main reason we lost wasn't, he said, obviously it would have helped if Lonzo had made a couple threes late.
Yeah, you think?
He said, we gave up 80 points in the paint. That's kind of hard to do, 80 points in the paint. And Luke also made the point that they scored 125 points. So with Lonzo playing all those minutes and they scored 125, is the offense broke? No.
No, because
it's
you
not
got
broke.
Kyle Kuzma got 22, Julius got 23, Brooke Lopez 23, Caldwell Pope 28, and then you get down here last but not least.
Okay, and this goes
6.
right over your head. Here's what I love about Lonzo Ball.
What you love?
He is not afraid. You want to talk about guts and backbone? So he's having a nightmare of a night. And what does he do on the last shot of the game? The key shot of the game? Could we see this? Do you realize he gives it up to Brooke Lopez, who gives it right back to Lonzo because there's a switch and he's got Anthony Davis on him? What was he doing? You see this right here? Lonzo clapped for the basketball. He's clapping like, give it back to me. That's guts. That's why Luke, his first comment out of his mouth was about, I want my point guard to have the courage to keep shooting. That's guts, Shannon.
Man,
I'm sorry.
Joe, if I had a Brooke Lopez, when he passed me that ball, he clapping.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You don't miss out. I ain't giving you no ball. I'm going to let it go.
Yeah.
Take it.
He's made a bunch of late ones, so they're just saying,
Yeah.
okay, we believe in you. We'll give
the
you a
dude is
shot.
7 of 48 from the three-point line over his last 7 games.
I just said that. I got it.
15% skill. What am I supposed to do with that?
And for 16 games, he was the hottest three-point shooter in all of basketball. And against the Spurs in San Antonio, arguably the best defensive team in basketball, he made 3 in the last 2 minutes to win the game. So have you seen it before?
And for 28 games
Wow.
from the three-point line, he's what the elephant left on the showground. Okay. So what am I supposed to do with that? So I got to.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I wish I might.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
You like it?
You're not going to.
Clapping for the ball.
I ain't
Give it back to
I ain't
me.
throwing it to you.
That's guts.
You can clap all you want.
Love that.
Yeah, I was like,
Love that.
who walked in? Jay-Z must be walked in and sat down. Because that's what he clapping for. Because you not about to get this ball thrown up all these bricks. There's a reason. Why do you think Anthony Davis stayed in the lane? Anthony Davis didn't run out there because you remember, you criticized LeBron because he ain't run out there and run Van Fleet off the three-point line.
Run him off the line. He just let him stand out there.
What did Anthony Davis do? Look at it.
Well,
Look at it.
there.
Hey, no, he was there. What?
You got the wrong guy. Look at Drew Holiday in the fourth quarter. He's basically just saying, I ain't guarding you.
Exactly. And you study shooting. Anthony Davis, one of the premier defenders, like, I wish I might go out there because he said, what's going to happen? I know you're going to miss it. I'm probably going to tip it in. I'll block part of it and to go in because I already know you're going to clank it.
Well,
So,
you realize all year long, Lonzo Ball has been in the top 20 of individual defensive win shares. I don't know. I forgot to look before the show. He's probably in 15, somewhere in that range.
I know.
And that guy, LeBron James, that born, what was it, 1984.
You know,
Yeah, what is it,
LeBron,
December 30th,
Ramon,
1984?
not to be confused
Yeah.
with the group,
Well,
the
the number
Ramones.
you need to know about Ramon right now is that he is 355th in defensive win shares. He's not playing any defense. Lonzo is a very disruptive
If you don't mind me
defender.
asking, where's Rajon Rondo in offensive win share? Because I know he cooked Lonzo Ball last night.
He was hot.
Nah,
He had a hot hand. He can't shoot a lick.
Yeah, and cooked him. Your defensive stopper. Oh, he long. He blocking shots. Like, show that. Hey, I don't know if we had it. No, good and well, we got anything that Lonzo done good. We got. I don't know if we have it right here, but he gonna turn and face the monitor like, I don't know if we got it. You know we got it.
Do we have it?
No, we ain't got it. I made sure I pulled it out. Healy tried to sneak
Which
it in
one do
there.
you want? Anthony Davis blocking
No,
Lonzo?
Anthony Davis.
Got him.
Anthony-
He got him good. And it's because Lonzo gets to the rim and it's like, uh-oh.
He can't
Am I going to get fouled?
Whoa, he can't finish above the rim.
Uh-oh.
He's 6'7".
No, I mean, he can block. He blocked 2 shots last night.
Oh! What is that?
Well, there you go.
What is that, Skip?
Well, that's the best shot blocker in basketball, maybe?
How much you want to bet he won't try Bron?
Who?
Anthony Davis.
Try him?
Try him.
You mean Bron try Anthony? That's the question. Would Bron try Anthony?
Well, we about to find out in a couple of days.
Are we?
Because the Pelicans come there. So you telling me LeBron gonna come to the lane and Anthony Davis gonna try it?
No mercy. What is going on with Kawhi Leonard? ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Spurs held a players-only meeting on Saturday to urge Kawhi to play for the stretch run in the postseason. The report adds the meeting got, quote, tense and emotional. Kawhi has only played 9 games this season with a quad injury and reportedly told his teammates that he planned to return once he felt healthy. Danny Green tweeted that the report of the meeting, quotes, couldn't be more incorrect. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank
But
you.
first, Shannon, whose side are you on here, Kawhi or the Spurs?
I'm on, before I go to whose side I'm on, but there was a meeting. So Danny Green is acknowledging that there was a meeting. Just the content and the veracity and what actually transpired in the meeting is what he has objection to. I'm on Kawhi's side, having been an athlete, and I get it. All they're like, Skip, you look at it like, okay, a sprained ankle should take this long, and this should take that long, and this should take this long. There are certain guidelines you're like, okay, you should be back in 2 to 4 weeks, or you should be back in 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. Kawhi's not healthy. Kawhi and it doesn't matter what the doctors say, it only matters what Kawhi feels. And Kawhi feels he's not healthy. And maybe he's one of these guys, and I've seen him. He's not playing unless he's 100%. Now, I've seen guys go out there at 50% Skip, and you've seen them go out there. You know they shouldn't be playing, but they're going to play. Now, but for me to hold a meeting and to beg a guy to go play, I wish I might. Now, I've been injured before.
I'm not sure beg is the operative word, but go ahead.
Well, I ain't asking. Look here, you hurt? Okay. When you get ready, we'll welcome you back with open arms. I've been in situations where I've been injured, and John Elway was like, "T, you gonna be ready to go on Sunday? Good, leave it at that." But I wouldn't beg him. That's not my job. My job is the guys that are gonna be playing, that I know gonna be playing. My job is to make sure they're ready to play and they're focused. I can't worry about a guy that's not going to be out there, Skip. And I'm definitely not going to. I wish I might have a meeting with a guy that's injured.
So you disagree with the Spurs players?
Yeah,
doing that.
Can't go beg no Kawhi to come back. I wish I might.
Again, by the way, from what I'm told, beg is not what was happening. They were challenging. They want to know what the hell is going on here.
Yeah,
you tell us.
None of your,
Now, you saw the reports out of San Antonio where that the meeting didn't get tense. Obviously, the players are denying it. There was a report as well in the San Antonio News Express that it wasn't tense, that they were just trying to find out.
I don't know what your definition of tension is, but
were they challenging him?
Yeah,
or
were
like we want to know what's going on?
You tell us, because he doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, certainly the media. We want to know what is going on with you. Tell us we need to hear from your mouth. What's wrong with you? How bad is it? What's the prognosis? When are you going to come back?
Y'all ain't doctors.
Because, remember, they just gotten fooled because Kawhi's camp had put out the notion that he was coming back last Thursday.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so this team is trying to come back together here. They've won 5 in a row, and at that point they were starting to roll a little bit, especially on the defensive end. So they're thinking, okay, we still got this. We're right on schedule. And as Manu said the other day, we got fooled. And they didn't like it.
And Manu
So now they want to know what the
just
real
tell us.
deal is.
Yeah, what is happening here?
Here's my look.
What are you hearing?
As you know, the Spurs will say from day one, Kawhi has been that type of player. Like, If I'm not 110% healthy, I'm not playing. He misses on average 15 games a year before this season.
And they're good with that because they're the most patient, conservative medical staff in basketball.
Here's the thing, and I'm on Kawhi's side too, because as you said, nobody knows your body like yourself. He does have doctors. Question it if you want. He has doctors that won't clear him. He hasn't been cleared yet from his doctors outside the organization. And my thing is, what's the ulterior motive? If he wanted out of San Antonio, this certainly isn't the way to do it. You just go and just demand a trade. Just ask for a trade like LaMarcus Aldridge did before Pop talked him down off the ledge, so to speak. It can't be about money because he's already under contract. The Spurs can offer him far more money than anybody else. And this, acting this way, puts that in jeopardy. It can't be about winning. And, you know, there was talk about he's concerned free agents won't go there. Of the biggest free agents in the last 5 years, they got one of them, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Correct.
The Lakers can't say that. The Knicks can't say that. So
that was a huge coup for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a destination city.
No.
But still, you got a great coach. You've won championships. So and you know Kawhi to some degree. I know him to some degree. And talking to people in that organization, he is not this spiteful, vengeful, deceitful type of guy. So I don't know what the motivation is.
The insiders believe he is changing. They're seeing a little different Kawhi because he fired his agent. Now his uncle has taken over all of his business operation. And they think some new thoughts have been planted in his head. They're just seeing a little different persona.
And I think
Kawhi.
there's some truth to that, but what is the motivation for him to sit out if he just doesn't feel like he's ready?
What's the motivation?
Chris Broussard. Who did you pick to be MVP this year?
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. A lot of people did. I saw a whole bunch of top experts say Kawhi Leonard is right on schedule. This is his year to break through and be as I keep calling him, the best two-way player so he could be the MVP. I believe that early this year, Kawhi Leonard started crumbling under the expectations exerted upon him to fill the Tim Duncan void. He's obviously not Tim Duncan as a player, but to become the face of the franchise, the leader in the locker room, and the driving force, as Tim was, of the whole show, of what's one of the best franchises, obviously, in sports. And then I believe he began crumbling under the expectations to live up to some MVP billing this year for the first time ever. And he is definitely crumbling under expectations to come back now that they are starting to catch fire because he would be seen as the savior. And I don't think he wants that inflicted upon himself, certainly at this point. I believe, this is just me, I'm definitely not on Kawhi's side. Maybe I know too much here, but I believe this is much more psychological than physical. I don't know that for a fact because nobody knows it. You can't know it. You can't know it. Nobody but that one human knows what's going on inside that. But I did speak early on in this process to one of the doctors examining him, and that doctor told me, and I'm going to use the word, he said he was mystified because all the tests they had run showed no structural damage. The knee is 100% okay. The bone is 100% okay, but he keeps saying he has some tenderness where the quad tendon connects at the kneecap, just above the kneecap. It's just tender. But they've treated it the way the Spurs treat all these kinds of soft tissue injuries, and they can't figure it out. So 2 months ago, the most conservative and patient medical staff and training staff in all of sports cleared Kawhi Leonard to play basketball. And he won't even practice with the team. He plays 3-on-3 with the videographers. You know, like, what are you doing? So when the team got fooled last Thursday, these are players that are pretty decorated now. They've been through some big wars and they won some rings. Ginobili, Parker, Pau Gasol.
Danny Green.
Danny Green, for that matter. And by the way, I love Danny. I know him well. And he is Mr. Spur. He's going to defend the organization. So he's going to, but something happened that was serious where the locker room, the vets, the decorated veterans just said, hey, just tell us what's going on. Are you going to be there for us or not? And he said, I can't tell you that. And so that's when Manu told the TV reporter, we're going on. We're done.
Think about this. They can say it wasn't tense. But if your peers call you in there and they're questioning whether or not the veracity of your injury or
or they just want to hear it from you.
Oh, it's gonna get tense.
But see, I don't have a problem with that because you're right. Kawhi doesn't talk, so they probably are like, what in the world is going on? I don't have a problem with the player sitting down and saying, look, just tell us what's up. Are you coming back?
Why? Hold on.
Like, we need to know.
But Kawhi's looking at it. Why I got to tell y'all?
Because they're your teammates.
Man, I wish I might tell a teammate what's going on with me.
They not. Why? Why wouldn't you tell your teammates
hold on.
when you think you'll be back?
No. No. Hell, Chris, you sorry? Are you for real?
Yeah, I'm for real.
You actually think I'm supposed to tell a teammate up here when I'm supposed to come back and play? Man, please.
Just how you feeling.
Well, you have some responsibility.
Exactly. How's your hamstring?
I'm
you
hurt.
getting paid?
Okay, Ann. Yeah, I am.
Hold on. Are we enemies? Are we adversaries? You got friends on your team. If they come to you and are like, how are you doing? Are you like,
I'm okay. I'm not ready to go.
We thought you were coming back last week.
He told you, I'm not ready to go. He said that. You're trying to pressure him. You put him in that situation on all his teammates.
When did he tell you? He don't talk. That's the thing.
Well, I tell you what.
If they just want to know.
You better be worried about him showing up with a haircut. You better be worried him showing up with that haircut off his head. Then you need to run. Because you talking about he don't talk. Leave the man alone, Chris.
Man, come on. That's ridiculous.
No, I'm not.
Men can talk. If I don't show up for 6 months to this show and Skip calls me and said, Chris, are you still on fire? I'm not gonna be upset.
No, Chris, if you have an ailment that puts you down, I'm not going, hey, Chris, come on, Chris. Hey, man, Chris, we need you to come back. No.
But look, I get that. But I don't know if that's what they said. I think they were wondering, are you coming back? Is it a chance you're coming back?
Give us a timetable. Just give us some idea.
No. Tell them no.
Well,
I agree with what you say. If they came at him like, look, man, can you play or not?
I don't care how they came at me. I ain't telling you nothing. I am not telling you anything. See, I don't know how this easy to do millennials. They feel comfortable.
Wait a second. If this were Kevin Love, you'd be saying, he's got to tell him.
Exactly.
He's got to tell him.
If
we need to know.
If Kevin Love, if the Cavs were wondering what's up with Kevin Love, and LeBron said, we're going to have a meeting, Kevin,
what's up?
You would be saying the same thing?
But I already told you what Kevin Love should have did when they called that meeting. So you already know how.
That was just
you already know how I feel about it. But here's the thing, and like you said, Kawhi has missed a bunch of games throughout his career. Kevin Love, since he's been in Cleveland, has missed games. You remember he got his arm snatched out. He had an ankle and knee problem. So Kevin Love has had issues.
Yeah, they basically did have that meeting with Kevin Love.
Yeah, they did, and Kevin Love handled a lot different. I'm just wired a little differently, Chris.
Okay? I just don't get that.
What if you own the San Antonio Spurs, and in the end, Peter Holt, and he says, I'm paying him $19 million, and my medical team tells me he's just fine. What would you think if you're the owner?
Skip,
he's not playing a game.
Skip,
he won't play a game.
Skip,
what would you think?
There have been times that people have had illnesses that have mystified the doctors. They can't figure out what's going on. So don't make it seem like every time we go to a doctor, they can tell us, okay, this is what you got right here, and this is the amount of time that you're going to take. You can't do that, Skip. I get it. Normally these injuries say they might take 6 to 8 weeks or they might take 3 to 4 months. But maybe Kawhi is on the other end. Maybe it's going to take 6 to 12 months for him to come back. But first of all, my teammates, they already know they better get out of my face. But you know who you can go. But Chris,
Shannon, don't you think it'd be if he was there every day talking with guys? Yeah, I'm getting close. I would think a normal teammate, I don't think they would have had to have a meeting.
But for me, like, when I was injured, I'm in a bad mood. I don't want to talk because I want to be out there playing, and I can't help. And so I'm already in a bad mood. So don't come at me like this.
But Kawhi's not one who's going to express the emotion of, it's killing me not to be with you guys. He's not giving them that.
And I know because he's in the middle of the road. So you don't know happiness, you don't know sadness. He's just straight down the book. And so it's puzzling to them. Okay, I get it. Spurs doctor say, Kawhi, you should go. And Kawhi's saying no, and they see him. But I think the thing is what it is, Skip. You said he's playing 3-on-3 with the videographers. Well, hell, if you can play 3-on-3, you come on get your ass out here and play 5-on-5.
Sure,
I think that's what they're wondering.
That's the issue, but I get it. Kawhi going to sit down. Because I don't want you to have to put your, quiet, them quiet types. Now hey, Chris, you're sorry. You know that. Them the ones that,
I would not classify you as the quiet type, Shannon, but.
No, I'm saying Kawhi.
Kawhi, yes.
You know that he got that implosive personality.
Oh,
you know what happened?
When it explodes,
Okay.
it's ugly. Yeah.
It ain't gonna be good. Now he whip everybody up in there. And then when that report get out, it's not true, but everybody on camera with the eye closed. Ain't what no fight.
Don't corner the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody across from me just wants him to leave San Antonio.
I told you
So
what
he's
we'll
trying
do.
to fuel the fire.
JR and
I
Tristan
think
Thompson
you might
straight up.
run him out now.
No mercy. The Cavs have won 3 straight, and LeBron is playing some of the best basketball of his career. But Paul Pierce said on ESPN this week that if the Cavs have to play the Sixers in the first round, it's, quote, not a gimme, and Cleveland could lose that series. Right now, the Cavs are the 3rd seed in the East, and the Sixers are the 4th seed. Shannon, would the Sixers be any threat to the Cavs?
Bet money, Paul Pierce.
He never went that far. He never said
Exactly.
they're going to upset them. You know?
Hey, Joy, I actually thought the Eagles were going to beat the Patriots, but I wasn't going to put no money down on something that meant something to me. I wasn't going to Vegas.
What did you say?
Yeah, I thought they could beat them. Yeah,
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
What planet?
Just because I picked them didn't mean hold on. Is he said they can beat them? He said they had a chance. They have a chance. That's what I'm saying.
Shannon, that's not how picks work. You pick the team you think is going to win.
No.
You said the Patriots were going to beat them.
No, I'm saying I felt the Eagles could beat them, but I wasn't willing to bet any amount of money that meant something to me on it. You can say anything, but when Kevin Love come back, remember now, when they beat them last time, the Cavaliers are 2-1 against the Sixers. No Kevin Love, no JR, and this roster wasn't like what it is now. There is no, first of all, let's go back. LeBron James has not lost a first-round game since 2012. He has never, ever in his long-legged life, and he's 6'9", so he got long legs.
280. Yeah.
Long legs.
Yep.
Never, ever lost a first-round series. Now, I know an all-time great that's on Mount Rushmore that lost a bunch of first-round series. You know him, Skip. I think you covered him for a number of years. You know who I'm talking about?
Wait, did Michael Jordan ever did he ever get swept in the finals?
I didn't call his name.
Swept in the finals?
I didn't call his name.
Did Michael Jordan get swept in the NBA Finals?
Why would you do that to Michael?
LeBron James get swept in the NBA Finals?
He got swept out of the first round for a number of years.
When Michael Jordan played in the East, it was beastly.
Hold on.
Beastly.
God's supposed to be able to beat everybody. What you mean? You mean to tell me God couldn't beat old slow Larry Bird and old knock-knee Kevin McHale?
Wait, you mean the Larry Bird who's better than LeBron James?
They say Kevin McHale was so knock-knee joy, they called him kickstand. That's what they called him, just touch it. Cooking Michael Jordan.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
I don't care.
Yeah.
But we ain't talking about that, Skip Bayless. No, they could not. I get it. Joel Embiid is great. Looks like he's heading in the right direction. Ben Simmons played phenomenal. But you and I both know it's going to be a suite. A Miele suite. You know, I got one of those good vacuum cleaners like they have in the hotel. Pick up, that thing, great.
Really?
Yeah, I got one. That's the kind LeBron going to bring with him because they will have home court. They would win there too and then go on up to Philadelphia and take care of business while eating cheese steaks. Yeah, you know it and I know it.
All I know for sure, this is in my point of view, that Philly right now would pose a much bigger threat to Cleveland than Toronto would. That's what I think. Because Philly is serious business. Philly is coming. Maybe they haven't arrived yet. But I believe that Philly, if in fact they met the Cavaliers in the postseason, I believe it would be a 7-game series. I believe it would. And I believe Toronto would at least get gentlemen swept. It would be 4-1.
4-2.
Maybe 4-2. I might.
We're going for ratings.
Yeah,
we got to play this out. We got to play this out.
He needs another night out.
You see that right there? You see that 2-3 and that 0?
Yeah.
When love is in the air, you know what's going to happen. Now, Joel Embiid is a monster. We have no answer for him. But as great as Joel Embiid has played this year and how great he might be moving forward, you know, name the series in which LeBron James has stepped on the court in the last 12 years. He was not the best player on the court.
Well, all I know is that the Sixers in their last 23 games are 17-6. That's since the start of February.
Yeah.
That's the 5th best record in all of the NBA, but it's the 2nd best record to Toronto in the East, and it's much better than LeBron and company.
We don't worry about
And
records, Skip.
I got it. But to your point, and I know you were a little shorthanded that night, but on March the 1st, Philly visited the King's Palace, right?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Philly won.
Philly happened. That's
Yeah.
what happened. 108-97 happened. And J.J. Redick had a hot hand. He was 4-7 from 3 and
Yeah.
scored 22. And Embiid went 17 and 14. And Ben Simmons went 18, 9, and 8.
They had like 6 guys in double figures.
Saric was good that night.
Remember like it was yesterday. LeBron had like a 38 and 9 after he came off that triple-double when he had played them up there early in the year.
Yep.
But he didn't have old Love.
He didn't have.
He didn't have his sidekick. Now, when Kevin Love come back, we got a definitive number 2. There is no question who's the number 2 option. We know who it is.
Yep.
So it's going down, picking up all that.
So, from 3 this whole season, J.J. Redick is shooting 41%, and little T.J. McConnell is shooting 42%. That'll work. And Dario Saric is 15 and 7, and Marco Bellinelli, my former Spur, he's starting to light it up
he
from 3.
plays.
And
Yeah.
Robert Covington's he's a good player. He's
good.
13 and 5.
Which
you know
one-
what?
which-
This is a basketball team.
Which one of them gonna check LeBron? Which one of them gonna keep LeBron from getting a triple-double every night?
Maybe Saric would. I don't know.
Skip, don't do that.
Well, I don't know.
You want the man to get now. You know he loved dunking on foreigners. Nurkic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he love it.
Remember that foreigner
Pirtle.
dunked on them at the end of the game, and Cavs didn't like it. Remember that?
He got that little cheap basket. But don't worry about it. We got something for you. We got something for you. We got something for you, Saric. Well, maybe. Probably not going to see you guys because y'all going to probably lose a couple of games, be the 8 seed. We won't see you. We won't be down there. We playing
It
6.
could be. You better hope you avoid
I
these
don't
guys.
hope nothing.
Yeah, 'cause
I
they're
want to
coming.
see it.
And by the way, this is where LeBron should go. I don't know why.
No, we're not talking about where it should go. We're going to talk about LeBron putting foots
Yeah.
in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Now, he loved Ben Simmons because he's, under the same management company. Don't do it, Skip. That's he's represented by Clutch Sports, just like Ben Simmons.
Why is it called Clutch Sports?
Because they clutch.
Who's Clutch?
LeBron,
Oh, make
And
him
Paul- and Rich
no,
Paul.
I'll give you Mavericks Clutch, but LeBron.
Rich
I
Paul,
don't know.
Mav, all of them.
Yeah, those guys are Clutch.
Don't do
but
that,
I don't
Skip.
know about
Clutch.
that. Yeah.
Spelled with a K.
And by the way, remember when the client broke free down the lane, got a big full head of steam? I'm talking about Ben Simmons in that game, and he's going to slam it.
Yeah.
And LeBron just said,
Yeah, the man had a running head of steam.
He did.
Now, if he'd have just got the ball
Yeah.
and just tried to one step
Yeah.
and flush it on Bron, like you remember Tiago Splitter did in that championship.
Oh, so
you
now
remember old Tiago,
we're
7 foot tall.
comparing Tiago to Ben Simmons.
But you said he's 7 foot tall.
They're both 7 feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause he-
Tiago, he can't jump an inch off the floor.
Yeah, he
But
can't.
he could play basketball.
Yeah,
he could
can't.
pass it.
He couldn't. He tried to flush on LeBron.
Well, he played on a team that should have won that series.
No, they shouldn't. What happened? Skip, that's what we know about a 7-game series. When you play 7 games and you have to win 4, the best team will always win. You can't get lucky. Ray Allen didn't hit 4 game-winning shots, did he? He hit 1. What happened in the other 3? What happened game 7, Skip?
Weren't the Spurs up 3-2?
They were up, but then all of a sudden they weren't up.
And then they were up 5 with 18 seconds left. Yep.
That hurt, didn't it, Skip? I can imagine you on the floor. I know you don't drink, but you wanted to. You started to get your car and go to the package shop.
Oh, I had a show to do. Yeah, it was a big.
But you know good and well. I tell you, you ain't gonna put nothing on it. Can we put some do if these 2 teams play?
Well, I'll do 7 games.
Oh, I'll put do. It won't go 7.
Okay.
They won't not go to 7 games.
All right.
You-
I'll take that.
LeBron got to go. He got to go to Cabo. He got to take Savannah to Cabo or the south of France. So he got to dismantle people quick as possible. Cause
In the middle of the playoffs?
Yeah, he got to take trips. Savannah, she done had all the kids. She need a break. They leave with them sitters. Cause he got au pair and all them sitters. They're like, hey, I'm finna take Savannah on a quick trip.
This
You know
would
what?
be a fun matchup, though.
You know what I love about the Sixers? Joel Embiid is afraid of nobody.
I like
Ben Simmons afraid of
I love-
nobody.
you know what?
You can have King or Queen or whoever. Bring them all on.
The reason why I love Joel Embiid because he a monster on social media.
He is
and
great.
he got a great game.
King of content.
But that old King, Skip, you see what he been doing? Especially since he got that picture with old bad boy Shay Sharpe. It's only gonna get better.
If you want your life to improve, you got to find
Yeah,
picture
I
with
might
it.
be. Hey, there's a chance, Skip, that when the playoffs come, I'll be taking pictures every other day with LeBron. So there's a chance I might have to be doing the show on remote.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cause you know, cause playoffs. Hey, cause he gonna go 0 dark 30, which means he gets off social media. So I'm gonna have to, control the content, post everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so you know
You'd
that.
be the pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so you know.
The voice for the people.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for the weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring the best discussions and segments from this week. We'll be back with more Undisputed on Monday morning at the same time, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.